6:59.
Oh, it's not up.
TV's out.
They're waiting for the
Okay. I was...
Wait, were we live for that?
The Church of Scientology has officially reopened. We have an up-close view from Guadalupe Street.
UT's School of Social Work building is facing an upcoming demolition. Good Morning Longhorns reporter David Gonima reports on the scene.
Ballet Austin's premiere show with a twist. Good Morning Longhorns has an exclusive look.
Benet Plange-Matier will be joining us on the show today to talk about her job as Vice President of the National Panhellenic Council and its purpose here on the 40 acres.
South by Southwest recently announced their lineup. We have the info on who you'll be seeing. All this and more on Good Morning Longhorns. Good Morning Longhorns. For Wednesday, February 28th, I'm Hallie Diamond.
And I'm Devin DiMichelle. Thanks for joining us this Wednesday morning.
How are you doing this week, Devin?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, it's a little cooler out this morning, this week, so a little sad there's no sun, but overall great week. How about you?
Definitely a good week. I missed the sun already. I love to tan, so I'm happy I at least got that in.
Yeah, me too. Well, let's get into this morning's top stories. Polls have closed in the campus-wide elections. After 2 days of voting, the candidates and students will now anxiously wait until Monday for the results. While all voting was conducted online, the Dean of Students' Office is expected to run an audit of all these results to ensure fairness. Notably, the ballot included candidates for student government president and vice president. We'll keep you updated on the results when they are officially announced.
UT students received an email Monday morning confirming a textbook order for $213.49. If you did fall prey to this very concerning message, do not fret. This was actually a phishing simulation email done by UT's Information Security Office. Here are some tips to practice cyber safety and keep your personal information safe. Never click on any links contained in suspicious messages. Take a look at the email and question if you have recently done business with EDU4U. Did you recognize the sender's address? Long story short, when in doubt, don't click and report to spam.
On Saturday evening, Welch Hall, a building on UT's campus, was evacuated for an isolated chemical spill in the lab. The Austin Fire Department and hazmat crews responded to the building after a spill was reported. The fire department reported that the overflow occurred during a lab experiment, and the UT Austin police reported that no injuries occurred. People were encouraged to avoid the area while the hazmat crews worked to ensure the building was safe, and Welch Hall reopened after a few hours.
The UT Board of Regents have approved of the new plan to renovate the UT Tower. During last Wednesday's Regents meeting, Chairman Etlife and fellow board members approved President Jay Hartzell's plan to, quote, preserve the tower's legacy and ensure that it shines even brighter for generations to come. The plan also includes renovations surrounding areas, including the main mall and nearby grounds. Along with the board's $26 million investment, UT has opened a fundraising campaign for any donations to the project. Renovations plan to take effect in January of 2025 and aim to wrap up by May 2027.
According to the Austin American-Statesman, the Austin Area Transportation Authority plans to station officers at the Tech Ridge Park and Ride, North Lamar Transit Center, South Congress Transit Center, and Republic Square Park in downtown Austin. The additional security could cost a minimum of $630,000 to $670,000 a year. The Austin American-Statesman also reports that Cap Metro has signed a 3-year contract with the private security firm Intercon Security Services. Cap Metro says that they will make adjustments to the initiative as time goes by, and the officers are set to start to work in 2025.
This past Saturday, the Church of Scientology held a grand opening for its Guadalupe Street location. Kevin Myers and Nicholas Pantaleone bring us the story.
I'm Nicholas Pantalone, here outside of the Church of Scientology over in West Campus. We were able to talk to a couple students and protesters outside the event. Let's take a look.
On Sunday, the Church of Scientology in Austin held a grand opening ceremony for its Guadalupe Street facility, celebrating the completion of a years-long renovation. In a press release, the church states that the new building will enable its youth outreach for drug prevention, further, quote, human rights education, end quote, and fight what it describes as, quote, mental health abuse. The grand opening was closed to the press, but appeared to attract many attendees and featured an appearance by the leader of Scientology, David Miscavige. The opening was met with protest from some of Scientology's detractors.
I don't think it's okay that they open within a block just across the street, frankly, of the University of Texas.
The Church of Scientology has been accused of child abuse and human trafficking by former members. Additionally, questions persist surrounding the disappearance of David Miscavige's wife, Shelley, once a prominent figure for the church. It has been labeled as a cult by many of its detractors.
The kids cannot consent, the elder abuse is not okay, and they need to lose their tax exemption. And so when I found out that the Austin org was opening, I was just like, put me in, coach.
That's always been a problem on college campuses is rape and the not reporting and stuff. And that's been in the news for a long time. Well, now we have a cult right next to you that's going to try to get people from your college to join it. And they allow rapists to go free.
TSTV News attempted to interview attendees of the event, but all either declined our requests or did not respond.
For TSTV News, I'm Nicholas Pantaleone.
Olivia Rodrigo is bringing the Guts World Tour to Texas. Olivia kicked off her tour last week in Palm Desert, California. Last night, she arrived in Houston, Texas, where our reporter, Jasmine Palacios, got to watch her play big hits like Vampire and The Grudge. Tonight, the Grammy Award winner will be on the 40 Acres at the Moody Center at 7:30 p.m., where she will be bringing her special guest, Chappelle Rowan. South by Southwest will take place from Friday, March 8th to Saturday, March 16th. The festival features film and TV screenings, music performances, industry speakers, and so much more. The speaker lineup has names like Morgan Freeman, LeBron James, Travis Kelce, and Selena Gomez. As for music, expect to see Peso Pluma, Young Miko, Faye Webster, and others. Conference topics this year include AI and post-row healthcare. Students get discounted rates, so buy your badge now.
A new Florida bill will restrict people under 16 from making accounts on social media platforms. If signed into law, these platforms will also terminate existing social media accounts of current underage kids. This effort is more restrictive than Texas law, which allows minors to have social media accounts without parental permission. However, if Florida state regulators say that millions of kids have successfully lied about their ages on these platforms.
Last Tuesday, the NCAA announced its new rule changes for the upcoming 2024 women's volleyball season. This included a major game changer, which is approving double contact. Players are now allowed to double touch the ball on the second contact of the play. However, if the ball was played over the net in this type of scenario, it would be ruled as a fault, and then the team would lose a point. This rule sparks controversy in the volleyball world because veterans and long-term players of the sort feel frustrated. They've spent years perfecting their set, but for new players, this may be helpful. It's also important to note that these changes are only for women's volleyball and not men's, making players angry. Devin, what do you think of this new change?
I think it's interesting that it's only gone into effect in women's volleyball. I think if we're going to change it, it should be across the board, but it is for consistency in the game, as the NCAA has said. What are you thinking about it?
I definitely agree. I think it should be all across the board, but it definitely could be helpful for new players who are getting into the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. After the break, we'll be tuning into the Weather Center with Good Morning Longhorns reporter David Gonima. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Good Morning Longhorns. Let's take a look at weather. Joining us on the set is David Gonima. What's the weather looking like, David?
Thanks, Allie, and good morning, Longhorns. Temperatures have dropped since our warm-weathered weekend as a small cold front blew in last night. Today we're looking at a high of 64 degrees with a low of 48, along with cloudy skies and a windy morning. Throughout the rest of the week, expect mostly cloudy skies with increasingly warmer temperatures into the weekend. Be sure to catch some sun on Saturday as we'll have mostly clear skies with a high of 83 degrees. That's the weather for this week. From the Weather Center, I'm David Gonima. Back to you.
The university recently announced the demolition of the social work building to make space for a new Texas athletics training facility. David Gonima has the story.
UT's long-standing building for the School of Social Work is rich in history, community, and culture. But the university recently announced that it is slated for demolition in 2024. Why? To make way for a brand new Texas athletics training facility.
Built in 1933, this building initially served as a junior high school in affiliation with the University of Texas. It acted as a tool for the College of Education to practically observe and apply their studies. In the 1957 school year, it became the first integrated junior high school in Austin. In 2024, the Steve Hicks School of Social Work has called the building home for the past 30 years. The demolition of this historical landmark and the displacement of their community has left students and faculty alike with feelings of uncertainty.
I've gotten a lot of kind of anxiety from it because what are we supposed to do? I mean, we've heard certain plans of we're supposed to be at a different hall across from campus and then another type of hall. So it's kind of displacing us, and because of that displacement, it's really triggered some anxiety in a lot of folks. I mean, I've talked to a lot of my peers, and they're just very confused and just not for this, and also for the natural environment too, because I feel like not enough questions are being answered of what's going to happen to the trees, and if they demolish the trees and stuff, these trees, you can take a look at them. They've been here for years, and it's just what's going to happen to them? You know, it's very disheartening.
Walter Webb Hall will be the temporary home for the School of Social Work, with plans to move into the current Macomb School of Business after their new facility is complete in 2028.
I really hope students are able to find that sense of connection with each other, if nowhere else in the classrooms themselves, together, but ideally more consistently in a stable place.
The state-of-the-art training facility for Texas athletics is set to break ground in June of 2024.
For TSTV News, I'm David Gonima.
Ballet Austin is paving the way for a new performance that may break traditional values. Good Morning Longhorns reporter Paulina Pearson has more on what has inspired this twisted ballet.
Hey guys, we are standing here outside the Harry Ransom Center on UT's campus, about to get an inside look into Ballet Austin's upcoming show, Poe, A Tale of Madness.
For years, literature works have been turned into operas, movies, plays, and ballets. Ballet Austin is taking this idea in a new direction, focusing on the story of the troubled Edgar Allan Poe.
So what we've tried to do is incorporate some of his stories into his life story. So it's that sort of melding of the two things that I hope people will come away knowing more about Poe as a writer.
This world premiere original performance, Poe, A Tale of Madness, will include 19th century Gothic elements with a contemporary twist.
To me, adaptations are always like an homage. They're always a compliment. They're saying this work is so fascinating that I want to reimagine it in certain sorts of ways.
The Harry Ransom Center held a Q&A with Mills and Ballet Austin's executive director, Cookie Ruiz. Audience members were able to get a look at the modern yet hauntingly beautiful costumes.
The Poe project was commissioned by the New Butler Choreography Endowment. If that name sounds familiar, the Butler School of Music here at UT was named after Sarah and Ernest Butler, who are known philanthropists that love the arts.
While many may be familiar with Ballet Austin's classic shows like The Nutcracker and Sleeping Beauty, Poe, A Tale of Madness is something never seen before.
When you think of ballet, you think of fairies and swans, that kind of thing. You don't think of these darker stories happening.
Well, thank you so much for coming along with us. From everyone here at Good Morning Longhorns, I'm Itza Martinez, and have a great week.
A TikTok creator has gone viral over posting a 52-part series on Who the F Did I Marry? The influencer, who goes by Risa Tisa to protect her identity, shared the life cycle of how she met, dated, married, and divorced a pathological liar. Her motivation behind sharing her story is to emphasize online dating safety and the realities that come with meeting someone on the internet. Take a look at what we've had.
Hi, and welcome. We all know why you're here. You're here for part of the new series that I'm calling Who the Did I Marry? I'm going to create this playlist series, and I'm going to tell the story of how I met, dated, married, and divorced a real pathological liar.
Hallie, have you seen this series on TikTok?
Okay, I got a little lazy to watch all the parts, but I watched a summary and some of the lies were crazy.
Really? I'm unfamiliar with the series myself, but it does seem pretty crazy.
Yeah.
2024 seems to be like Beyonce's year so far. The famous singer announced the launch of her hair care line, Sacred, which launched February 20th. While some are excited for this launch, many have criticized her decision, claiming that Beyonce has not been known for her hair and others saying that she should just stick to music.
Speaking of her music, Beyonce has also released 2 singles, Texas Hold'em and 16 Carriages, in anticipation for her upcoming album, Act 2. The new album, coming out late March, was announced during the Verizon Super Bowl commercial and is going to be a second addition to her Renaissance album. It's definitely exciting to see Beyonce's career continually advancing and seeing her release amazing music. Devin, are you a Beyonce fan, and what do you think about her launching a hairline?
I am a huge Beyonce fan. I think Diva's like my #1 played song ever. Concerning her hair care line, I honestly think the story behind it's beautiful. She grew up in her mother's salon, sweeping hair, it says it. And I think it's nice that she's connecting her passion to that.
That's beautiful. Tom Sandoval is facing backlash regarding comments he made about his affair with co-star Rachel Raquel Leviss. The Vanderpump Rules star cheated on his girlfriend of 9 years, Ariana Madix. Sandoval took part in a New York Times article titled How Tom Sandoval Became the Most Hated Man in America, and said that the media scrutiny he faced was similar to the O.J. Simpson trial as well as the 2020 murder of George Floyd. Also said that he got more hate than Danny Masterson from That 70s Show, who is currently in prison for rape. Many Bravo stars have called him out, such as Gertie Abraria and co-star Katie Maloney. He has since released an apology, saying that the comparison was inappropriate and ignorant. Coming up, the Vice President of the National Panhellenic Council at UT shares what her organization is all about. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Good Morning Longhorns. Joining us on the show this morning is Benet Plange-Matier to raise awareness and speak about her involvement as Vice President of the National Panhellenic Council. How are you doing this morning, Benet?
I'm doing good. I'm really loving the break from the hot weather. What about you?
I'm great, thank you. I think the break is nice as well. So what is the history of the NPHC here on campus and its presence at UT?
So NPHC was founded on May 10th, 1930, and then the UT like chapter was chartered here in 1965. And so basically we've just been bringing service and community involvement to the campus since our chartering.
That's wonderful. So in the NPHC there's this Divine Nine. Could you explain that a little more?
Yes, the Divine Nine is the 9 sororities and fraternities that make up the NPHC Council. The earliest fraternity being Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and then the earliest sorority being my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And each sorority and fraternity has its own pillars that are based on sisterhood or brotherhood, scholarship, and then service.
That's wonderful. How has the mission of the NPHC within each chapter evolved over the years, or just the organization overall?
Well, overall, it's adapted to like modern issues, but it's remained the same. Like it's been based on the same principles, just evolved to like fit modern issues.
Great. I understand you were newly elected as Vice President, so congratulations on that. In this role, what are your goals for the semester? How do you plan to achieve them?
Well, one of my main goals is to bring unity back to our council. So just make sure that like we're more binded as a whole, and then as well as more unity with other councils across campus. And then I just want us to be more visible on campus. Like when you see the black community and you see like the issues that impact the black community, I want NPHC to be at the forefront of those issues. So I feel like we can do that through service, advocating for the community. And
that's great. You spoke about connections with other affiliations on campus. Do you see any crossovers with these Greek life organizations or any other organizations on campus that the NPHC has worked with in the past?
Oh, definitely. I remember we had the Greek Day of Service, and we got to interact with a lot of other councils, namely like IFC, UPC, and that's just always great, getting to interact with other councils, getting to gain a different perspective on things.
Great. And do you see any like overlapping goals within these two, like organizations that you've worked with in the past, reaching a similar goal, especially here on campus? UT's campus is very large and we have a lot of people to serve. So do you find that working with other organizations to achieve these goals have helped your goal in the NPHC as well?
I believe so, yes.
How can those who are not members of the NPHC show their support and know a little bit more about you guys?
Showing up to our events and just making sure that you're educated on our sororities and fraternities and what we stand for, and the impacts that it has as far as culture on the black community. I believe allyship is like very important, especially in times like this with Senate Bill 17.
And how has that impacted the NPHC, SB 17?
So NPHC, as far as I know, we are protected, but we stand in a position where we need to be at the forefront of these issues, and we need to be finding a way to support the black community while we're facing issues regarding the bill.
What aspect of the NPHC is most important to you and the organization? What do you hope resonates most with students on UT's campus and for everybody watching here today?
I think the sisterhood that I gained from my sorority, that's definitely something that impacts me. Like, I can go to the doctor's office and there'll be a member of my sorority, and it's just nice having those connections all throughout my life. And another one would be the service. I like giving back to the community, and I just like being a part of something that's bigger than myself. So,
for these events that you say are bigger than yourself, what's one event that you feel the most connected to that you guys have run?
That's a very good question. We do a lot.
I'm sure. There's so many. Hard to choose.
It's very hard to choose.
Of course.
We did power packs during one of our like ski week events. We packaged like power packs and we donated them to the Ronald McDonald House. And so I think I really like doing stuff like that.
Awesome. And what is your Instagram or any social media links that we could share so people know where to find you guys?
I believe our Instagram is UTMPHC, and then my sorority Instagram page is Texas AKs.
Awesome. Well, Benay, thank you so much for joining us here in the studio today. It was great having you on here at Good Morning Longhorns. We loved hearing your story and your passion and connection to the MPHC. Next up, we are diving into events around Austin here at Good Morning Longhorns.
Welcome back to Good Morning Longhorns. Blue Bonnet season is on the horizon, and many Texans, especially here in Austin, are seeing buds blooming. The Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center released their spring forecast for wildflowers, and it is pretty promising. You can expect to see more blooms in March, and the season will be in full swing by April. Devin, are you excited for Blue Bonnet season?
I'm so excited. These flowers are so beautiful, and I just love seeing color and all of that. I think it's great.
Yes, I definitely agree. Well, that's all the time we have today for Good Morning Longhorns. Until next week, you can follow us on Instagram at Good Morning Longhorns. I'm Hallie Diamond.
And I'm Devin D. Michelle. From all of us here at Good Morning Longhorns, have a wonderful Wednesday, and our team will see you back here next week.